A whole Disney World resort themed around the idyllic and mega relaxing vibes of upstate New York and natural hot springs. Sounds like the perfect getaway, right? For a lot of folks, this is their last choice Disney hotel, and we're going to find out why. Hey everybody, it's Chris for AllEars TV and AllEars.net. We're working our way through Disney World hotels to decide which hotels are the best and the worst, and which ones are perfect for you. Today we're talking about Saratoga Springs Resort and Spa. We got this info straight from you, but we're not going to tell you what we think until later. So let's start with what this resort is all about, and then we can get into why people hate it.
This may be a controversial opinion, but Saratoga Springs is probably the Disney World resort I forget about the most. However, I do think that there's some real upside here. I think that it is pretty popular among TVC members. And the biggest upside is that it is walking distance to Disney Springs. So you automatically are going to have access to incredible restaurants, and yeah, that's a major upside.
Saratoga Springs Resort and Spa is a Disney Vacation Club resort that opened back in 2004. But it first went through several different transformations, from initial plans to make it a residential community to finally designing it as a hotel. In 1996, it became the Disney Institute Resort, a place with hands-on programs and activities where guests could take classes and engage with other guests of the hotels.
I love Saratoga Springs. Why? Because it was Disney Institute. Do you remember this in the 90s? Michael Eisner visited the Chautauqua Institution in upstate New York and was so inspired by his experience there that he came back and told Imagineers, I want you to create Chautauqua Institution, an adult learning center, a place for ideas in Walt Disney World. And they did. And let's just say it didn't work out very well, because the concept of coming to Disney World, skipping the theme parks, and focusing your entire vacation on learning and going to the spa, it didn't quite gel. And people weren't inspired to book vacations there. People who went, I don't think, had the best time of their lives. Whatever it was, it just didn't work, and it had to close, and they had to retheme it to Saratoga Springs and open it up as a DVC resort.
Today, the Disney Vacation Club Hotel is big, with 18 villa buildings and 60 treehouse villas. Many rooms available here are larger than typical hotel rooms, with the 1, 2, and 3 bedroom villa suites that offer full kitchens and large living spaces typical of what you'd find offered at all Disney Vacation Club resorts. The treehouse villas are unique here. They're standalone tree houses that sleep up to 9 people. It's located basically next door to Disney Springs, right on the shores of Lake Buena Vista. The design of the hotel is inspired by the real-life late 1800s New York retreat, also called Saratoga Springs, where horse racing was an important source of recreation. In fact, you might spot some famous Disney horses in the lobby, and if you're a golfer, note that Saratoga Springs is also located near the Lake Buena Vista golf course.
It is such a big resort. It is sprawling, and I can tell you right now, you will get lost. Maybe you won't, but I sure did. I got so lost when I was at Saratoga Springs. At one point, I was wandering through a golf course and I had no idea. Saratoga Springs definitely has like home away from home vibes. Very much. It's like, you know, I mean, it was made to be this like Disney campus, so the units actually feel like lived in, livable a little more than other places. And a couple of them have got a refurb and they look nice. I'm not like that into horses. Horses are fine. I've ridden horses. I have a really funny picture of me trying to get on a horse. But the units do, like, they feel very nice. They're extremely spacious, obviously extremely pricey, being like villas at a DVC resort, but they were very, very nice. Lots of natural light. I don't know. I really like the rooms at Saratoga. I really enjoyed my stay there. When I stayed there for a resort tour that you can watch on the channel. And yes, I did wear the same sweater 2 days in a row. It's fine.
Saratoga Springs is not one of the first resorts that pops into my head when talking about Disney World resorts. I think most people think the same as me. It's on the bottom of the list. It's not a bucket list resort, you know, that I want to stay at. It has good dining options if you're already staying there, but it's not one that I would go out of my way in order to visit for a specific restaurant or anything. It's a very big resort, so you're most likely going to do a lot of walking depending on where your room is and where you're trying to go.
Because Saratoga Springs is right next to Disney Springs, it's not super close to any Disney parks, and transportation comes down to buses. Considering how spread out the resort is, you might be walking a lot just to get to a bus stop, and there are several stops, adding to your bus travel time. But you can also take advantage of the Sassagoula River Cruise, which can take you to Disney Springs, Port Orleans French Quarter, or Old Key West Resort.
You can also hop on the Sassagoula River Cruise to head over to Port Orleans or go to Olivia's at Key West.
I mean, right off the bat, I've got good news and I've got bad news. What do you want to start with? Great. Good idea. Bad news first. Bad news is Saratoga Springs is kind of further away from most of the Disney parks. It's located right next to Disney Springs, which means you gotta take the buses. You are relying on the buses, and the buses can take forever. But if you just miss the bus, it could be like 30 to 40 minutes before the next bus shows up. And it's not good for anybody. But here's the good news. It is located right next to Disney Springs. You could walk to Disney Springs, get yourself a nightcap, have an appetizer before you have your fancy dinner. But listen, I've got to warn you. If you decide to walk to Disney Springs, please, there's a hidden path, dangerous path. I'd even call it terrifying. On one side, Disney Springs. On one side, Saratoga. In the middle, nothing but pure darkness awaits you on this path. Okay, all joking aside, it is actually one of the most terrifying paths I've ever been on. I don't, it's, think of when Beauty and the Beast, like Maurice is like, oh, I could take this nice sidewalk path to Disney Springs. Or I could take this, and then all of a sudden, like, cut to the path and the trees start to loom in, and then you start to see some red eyes. I mean, that is what this path looks like. And Breedlove, I know we're on the same wavelength here. We will Uber before we take that path.
There are quite a few food options at Saratoga Springs, and that's before you even consider taking a walk to Disney Springs and eating at one of the many restaurants there. Sit down for a meal at the Turf Club Bar and Grill, or visit the Turf Club Lounge for a slightly different experience. The Artist's Palette is the place for fast food options. Otherwise, you could check out the Paddock Grill, the On the Rocks Bar, the Backstretch Pool Bar, or Chippendale's Cafe for snacks.
I have enjoyed the Artist's Palette before. I think compared to everything else at the resort, the Artist's Palette is going to be the best option for multitude of people's likes and dislikes. They've got pizzas, they've got salads, they've got sandwiches, they've got a couple entrees with like chicken and things like that. So I think Artist's Palette is a good option for a big group of people to make sure that everybody can find something that they like. I would rather personally just go to Disney Springs for dinner if I'm at Saratoga Springs.
The Artist's Palette is their quick service location, and they used to have an Asian noodle soup that was like one of my favorite things on property, and I talked about it too much and all my coworkers got annoyed, but it was really, really good. They unfortunately took it off the menu. They replaced it with a plant-based gyro that sounds amazing. I haven't tried it yet, but this is a place to check out. You're gonna find some things on the menu here that are different from your average Disney World fare, and I think it's worth a visit.
Disney Springs is home to some of the best restaurants in Disney World, so while you might choose your hotel based on your dining options, at Saratoga Springs you are getting numerous fantastic options that you can go to for dinner. Not to mention you get lots of shopping, entertainment, so you have to kind of think of it as kind of Disney Springs is the backyard to Saratoga Springs, and that's pretty special.
Okay, so what do AllEars readers think? Several readers said that this hotel is ideal for those of you who want to stick close to your room. An anonymous reader said, "We love this resort. The refurbished rooms are spacious and comfortable, lots to do if you're having a resort day." And another anonymous reader said, love staying at Saratoga. It is open and airy, lots of green space, reminds me of upstate New York.
I mean, what do you do on a resort day? You can rest, you can do anything you want. It's literally just a day that you don't go to a park. It's very chill, or it can be very busy. Genuinely at your discretion, resort day is just when you basically don't go to the Disney parks. Saratoga Springs is also one of the hotels that we think is great for a less busy park schedule. So like if you're not going to the parks a lot, we think that Saratoga Springs is a great place to stay, and I think that you guys agree too.
Yes, Emma. Yes, you know what's up. Ow. Emma knows what's up. I don't know. Emma knows what's up. Because the resort day is where it's at. I love a good resort day. A staycation, if you will. That's what that feels like to me because I'm a local. But it's a nice resort day. You know, the crowds and the rushing around and the heat, it can be a lot sometimes. So it's important to, you know, listen to your body, listen to your mind, and go, it's time for me to just hang out at the resort, enjoy the amenities. You can go to a couple bars, go to a couple eateries, maybe do a little shopping, go by the pool, and then make your way through the path.
The decor isn't necessarily a favorite feature, however. One anonymous reader called the cookie-cutter decor sterile and impersonal, and said that there are better choices when it comes to Disney World hotels.
The room refurbishments are nice. They're big rooms, they're spacious, they have nice amenities. However, if you are looking for that big Disney theming, you are not going to be satisfied here. If you don't want the theming, then this might be the perfect resort for you because it doesn't feel like a Disney hotel. You know, if you like horses, this is the resort for you. Some people have said that the rooms feel a little bit sterile, which I can agree with. You know, sometimes they feel like you're not allowed to touch anything or mess with anything.
Trebuchet, that's what I call Fry Bucket when I feel like she's being fancy. I don't understand what you're saying about the rooms not being sterile. That's what I want out of a hotel room. Like maybe not sterile. Like I don't want it to feel like a hospital, but I do want it to feel like so clean that it is implausible that it be that clean. And that's what I feel like the Saratoga rooms feel. And if you can't hang with that, listen, not everybody has the horseback riding prowess that I do. Have you been in an unfurbished Disney World hotel room lately? Unfurbished? No. Not refurbished Disney World hotel room? No. Because you're in there and you're like, whoa. Now you should choose Saratoga Springs if you are a Disney Vacation Club member and you have the points to. I think that those villas are pretty incomparable. Being able to stay in like a room that has multiple bedrooms, a full kitchen, in-unit laundry for some of them. Are you kidding? Like that's a big bonus. And my family does actually stay at places like Saratoga Springs and Old Key West when we visit as like a big group, because you've got my parents and then we have adult kids now. And so it doesn't really work to all be in one hotel room. So we get these villas that have a master and another bedroom with multiple beds, and it works great for our family. So that is hands down what we do. And what we do to do that is we rent Disney Vacation Club points. My family is not in the Disney Vacation Club, but we'll rent DVC points from people in the Disney Vacation Club. And that way we get these rooms for very affordable prices, despite being huge, huge expensive rooms at cash value. If you want to do that, go ahead and check out David's DVC Rental. We partner with them. They are awesome. You can rent DVC points and get these rooms for way cheaper than you'd expect. So go ahead and check that out if you're interested.
The pros. It's right next to Disney Springs. The treehouse villas are unique and fun with amazing amenities and recreation options. The cons, the buildings are really spread out and bus transportation can be slow and crowded, plus it's far from other Disney parks.
Saratoga Springs is not high up on my priority list when it comes to staying at a Disney World resort. It's got fine amenities for when you are staying there, but I would never go out of my way to do something at Saratoga Springs. First of all, there's cheaper resorts if you're on a budget, fancier amenities if you're going on the higher scale. There's more popular and better restaurants at other resorts. However, if you and your party are looking for a resort that doesn't feel like Disney World, if you don't want Mickey Mouse everywhere, all over the walls, if you want to feel a little bit more removed from the Disney World bubble, you already know you're going to pay that deluxe price, but you want a little bit more space, this could be a good option for you. I think most people forget that Saratoga Springs even exists. and that's just kind of how it is. You know, they can't all be winners.
This is a really fun resort for me to visit. They play the bugle fanfare like every hour. I can see it getting annoying if you're staying there, but the grounds are really beautiful. The pool is gorgeous, and I think it's a fun piece of Disney history, the fact that it was the Disney Institute, and that, you know, it was a huge dream that Michael Eisner had that failed.
They can't all be winners.
And we are able to walk the ruins. And the ruins are called Saratoga Springs Resort.
Overall, how do I feel about Saratoga Springs? To be honest, I don't really feel about it. I think it's a nice resort. I think it's a nice hotel. A lot of people really enjoy it. I think it's great for park days if you want to just chill if you're staying there. Big rooms, lots to do. But if you're not staying there, unlike places like the Contemporary or maybe the Polynesian, I don't think you should go out of your way to go hang out at Saratoga Springs. It has a good vibe, very chill, but I don't think there's any standout options here that I would choose to go over other places. So overall,
if I could retire anywhere, I think Saratoga Springs would be it. The amenities, so many things you can do. The restaurants, it's a big space. I'll be honest, it's pretty vast. So I like it. I do like it. I do think that if you're looking for something more Disney-esque, I think you should probably stay closer to the parks. You know, the Polynesian. Might I suggest the Polynesian if you're looking for something a little more Disney?
Ultimately, while Saratoga Springs is not my top choice for a Disney World hotel to stay at, I do think that there's some huge upside, especially if you are a foodie who is looking to enjoy some of the best restaurants that Disney World has to offer. You're going to have Disney Springs right there, and that's just something that can't be overlooked.
I am not a horse girl. That's not relevant. Saratoga Springs is a really cool resort. Is it a resort that I think you must visit if you are not staying there? Absolutely not. Cruise on by. There's nothing that exciting at Saratoga Springs besides maybe the spa. But it's just, you know,
it's okay.
It's okay. Also, walkable to Disney Springs. Hello, all the shopping, dining, and entertainment you could want.
Saratoga Springs. If you like being close to Disney Springs and you like to take a resort day, Saratoga Springs might work for you. If you want a central location or a smaller hotel, you should probably choose another hotel. But how do you feel about it? Of course, keep in mind that what's good for one person might not be good for you, but that's why we research and review to help you make the best decision for you. Want more opinions? Do a search on AllEars.net for Saratoga Springs, and you may be a little blown away by the info you find. For the rest of you, how would you vote? Let us know in the comments. This is Chris for All Ears. See you next time.